I don't deserve that, but I appreciate it. What a crazy year it's been. I had a COVID scare a couple months ago. I was drinking a soda and I couldn't taste anything. And then I realized it was just a LaCroix. You know? All right, it's just the first joke, all right? It's gonna get better, all right? I'm a little rusty. My job's been illegal for the last year, so just been sitting around collecting unemployment. Pretty humbling when the government is like, hey, we'll pay you to not tell jokes. Thought it was going okay. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty nice though. When that $600 bonus was active, I was making almost 80% of my normal salary as a comedian. But now I didn't have to pay for plane tickets or hotels or sex. I was saving so much money. I hated that joke, so believable, but all right. But hey, the vaccine's here, so we're back to work. Yeah, I got vaccinated. You guys vaccinated? Looks good. Yeah, I got vaccinated, although it's Johnson & Johnson, so, oh boy. Thanks for coming to my last show. No, I gotta give Biden some credit. You know, I think he did a great job getting the vaccine out quickly, and I mean, obviously it helps to have a son who knows where to get drugs, but, that joke would have worked for either president. Calm down. Just covering the bases. I'm pretty liberal as a person, but I think as a comedian, it's only fair to make fun of both sides a little bit. Some audiences don't like that. I was doing a show. There's a video on my YouTube channel of Trump supporters trying to boo me off stage if you're into that kind of thing. I wasn't really laughing at the time, but I was doing a show recently. This woman chased me down into the parking lot. She goes, "You made fun of both Trump and Biden, but I couldn't tell. Which side are you on?" I was like, well, my only allegiance is to the truth. She goes, "But that's Trump." And I was like, oh, the opposite side of you. Yeah. Not much to talk about. But a tough year. I went through a breakup recently, but don't worry, gonna get her back with these jokes. Yeah. It was a real surprise breakup. I didn't see it coming at all. Also, I was trying to keep things spicy in the bedroom, so we always played a game that was her favorite. It's called Sexy Librarian, which is where I'm not allowed to talk and she reads a book instead. I never got to be librarian. Let's switch it up once in a while. We had a lot of communication issues. I realized she was always trying to hint things to me during the relationship, but I'm an idiot, you know? One morning she was like, "I had a dream last night that you started working out. You got super ripped. It was so sexy." I'm like, oh. I had a dream that you accepted me for who I was, you know? But that's not... I won the battle, but I lost the girl, you know? So... Trying to get back out there. I seen this girl over the summer for a few months, and things were going really well. One night we were about to hook up, but she's got a random nosebleed in the middle of it. Just like out of nowhere, her nose started bleeding. At least that's what I told the cops. Come on, and you know. You know what's interesting about making out with someone who's bleeding? You don't know for a while. Because I'm not making out with my eyes open like some kind of creep, like, I like to watch, I want to remember this, you know? So, you just gotta go until you taste blood. Pennies. Wait, what? Alright. So that kind of killed the vibe for the night, and we never ended up having sex. And then just because of scheduling, we never got to hang out again. Like, I went on tour, and she didn't want to talk to me anymore, so we just went our separate ways. But then a couple months later, she showed up on a reality TV show called The Bachelor. I don't know if anyone has seen this garbage. It's a reality TV show, right? They take 40 women, they make them live in the same house and date one guy, and they're not allowed outside contact with the world. It's like Survivor, but they let them shave. She didn't end up marrying the guy from TV, but she went viral because her name's Katie, but they just called her the dildo girl the whole time. Because Like Survivor, you get to bring an emotional support item from home. She brought a huge dildo. And now she has like 1 million Instagram followers, and I feel like she owes me, you know? Because if we had actually had sex that night, she wouldn't be the dildo girl, you know what I'm saying? You know? She'd be the very sexually satisfied reality show contestant. I'm her origin story. She became the Bachelorette, which is very exciting, of course. And as soon as that happened, everybody I know was like, you gotta go on the show and you gotta win her back. That is your destiny. I was like, I don't know how much I want to lean into that, you know? I don't need my claim to fame to be, I'm the guy who couldn't close the deal with the horny chick from TV. That's me, you know? TMZ's chased me through airports. It's the guy who got rejected by Snooki. Hey, thank you. No autographs, please. Now that the show is on, I'm so glad they didn't try to put me on it, because that would have been embarrassing. You know, it's reality TV, they're looking for symmetrical faces and white teeth, you know. Every guy on there is like, I'm a firefighter, but this is my orphanage I look after in my spare time, you know. All the intros are like, Greg's a hockey player, and they show him playing hockey, and I'm like, what would they do with me? Andrew's a comedian, it's just me jerking off in a La Quinta, you know, like, oh, I'm here for the right reasons, so I can stop doing this all the time. Sorry for the visual. Or you're welcome. I'm really glad that the relationship ended that way, though, because now there's closure, you know? Most relationships end and you just don't talk to each other for a couple years because of the judge. And, just me? But now I get to watch TV and go, oh, well, it's obvious she still wants me back. I mean, what does this guy have that I don't, besides abs and a job? This is bullshit. Glad things are opening back up now, and it's very exciting to be back to full-size crowds, you know. Yeah, I live in Seattle, so I did a lot of like, you know, half capacity, 25% capacity, and I think I adjusted too quickly to it, because then I went on tour to some cooler states, you know, and, you know, because you guys are like phase 2, but Texas was phase 2 many people are alive the whole time, you know, so I did some shows out there. And it feels like I discovered my girlfriend has been faking an orgasm for the last year. I was like, is this what this is supposed to sound like? Because I've been lied to. I'm gonna miss some of the spaced out stuff. I went to a Blazers playoff game, and it's like 1/3 arena, and it's nice to be in the audience, because I don't like live sports. Usually it's crowded, there's a guy spilling beer on you, and this guy's yelling racial slurs, and I get it, it's the name of the team. Go football team. I love the NBA playoffs last year. We were in the bubble. That was very exciting. Although I didn't like that the players had social justice slogans on their jersey instead of their name. And I'm fine with politics in sports. I just don't know the names of the players anymore. So I'm yelling at the TV like, fuck you, Black Lives Matter, yeah! You and education reform can suck my dick, you know, so. Long story short, I'm not allowed at Buffalo Wild Wings anymore. So. I'm in the corner like, Minneapolis is on fire! They're like, please leave, we've asked you several times. Glad things are opening up, but I worry that they're opening schools too soon. That feels like not a good idea, you know? Because kids are giant balls of disease in the first place. There's no way this ends well. That's probably why COVID doesn't affect them, right? Coronavirus enters a kid's body, all the other diseases are like, seats taken, you know? Kids are basically giant bats. They hang upside down, they poop on everything. They use high-pitched screeches to move around, but I think schools are doing a good job. They're very prepared for coronavirus. If a kid gets sick and dies, they would have plenty of chalk to outline the body, so that's going to be good. Okay, well, all right. You're not gonna like the next couple jokes. Just wanna Buckle up. Oh boy. I'm glad they ended the mask mandate for vaccinated people and liars. That's good. And look, I wear the mask all the time when I have to. I'm a good person, but sometimes I forget just because I don't leave the house anymore. The other day, I walked into a Whole Foods without my mask. Holy shit. That was a near-death experience for me. I'm just minding my own business. People are following me around the store and filming me. There's a Karen in the corner going, "Call the police, he's gonna murder everybody." I was like, shit. I think I accidentally discovered what it's like to be black in a Target. So that's, I know. It's a hard joke to pull off in a city without black people, but, it's okay. All right. We'll move on to less controversial topics. All right, Confederate statues. Okay, so here's what, where's everybody going? I see both sides of this issue, if I'm being honest. On the one hand, the Confederacy lasted 4 years. That's not really heritage. That's more like a phase you went through in high school. On the other hand, I had a girlfriend for 3 months that I still write jokes about 3 years later. So I get it. It's hard to get over stuff sometimes, She keeps texting me going, "Give me back my underwear." I'm like, no, those are monuments to history, okay? If we forget our past, we're doomed to repeat it. You don't understand. I was really depressed last year when we couldn't perform comedy. But one of the great things about living in Seattle, I discovered all the beautiful hikes we have out here. I just went hiking all summer. What better for your depression than to be alone in the woods for several hours? Just looking over cliffs like, oh, I bet that would hurt. All right, just checking. At least if I fell, I'd feel something. It's just a joke. I promise. I'm not sad. You're not going to see me on the news tomorrow. They wouldn't cover it anyway, but I was worried about bears at first because I'm a pussy, but I did some research. It's very confusing because it says, oh, if it's a brown bear, do one thing, but if it's a black bear, do the complete opposite. I'm like, that's fine, but how do I explain to the bear that I don't see color? I'm one of the good ones, bear. I'm on your side. So I went back online, and it turns out there's a nursery rhyme for bears. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It goes, if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. And I was like, no, I think they got that from LAPD, actually. That's what I came from. If it's a polar bear, you say, all lives matter, and he lets you go. Right. We made it. I think I mortified half the audience, and that's like 12 people, but thank you. I have a shirt for sale after the show, so the government doesn't know I make money, and it's about people with fake service dogs. Yeah. Because I have a friend that has a service dog, but it's a Chihuahua. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that counts. She's like, no, it helps with my anxiety. I'm like, the dog shakes more than you do. So, if you need something for emotional support that fits in your purse, get a dildo, So it's an emotional support t-shirt, right? Because if you're feeling sad and you don't have your service dog or your fake pet, pet this guy, and it lines up with your nipples. You're like, I feel so much better already. All my anxieties disappear. I need emotional support underwear. Any underwear is emotional support underwear if you pet it long enough, but with consent, okay. He's got a bowl full of pills, and the name tag says Xanax, so pick that up after the show. They're made in America, if that's important to you. A bunch of Chinese kids in my basement, but I'm getting a great deal on labor. They came over like mid-January last year. Hope that's a coincidence, but no big deal. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Also, if you buy a shirt, I'll give you a free beer koozie, a $700 value. Or I'll sell it separately if you're an alcoholic. And it has my social media on the front. Andrew J. Rivers, please track it down. Yeah, and whatever. You know, Instagram or YouTube or OnlyFans. Get it all sent. So, like, don't push your luck. There's a joke on the other side, because I saw a bumper sticker one time say, "Cars are like wives, if it ain't yours, don't touch." I was like, what a dope sticker, so I just made these. They say, "Cars are like wives, I accidentally banged yours." It was an accident, calm down. I left a note, all right? Don't worry, insurance is gonna cover it, you know? She was totaled, am I right? It's all right. Hey, thank you guys very much. My name is Andrew Rivers. Thank you. Well, at least one of my dads is proud of me. It's good to be here. I used to open my show with a vaccine joke, but it's becoming less effective over time, so... When I first started telling vaccine jokes, like 93% of the crowd loved it. Unless they got the J&J, you know? And then a few months later, I noticed, like, hey, the laughter is starting to wane a little bit. My friend was like, dude, just get a second vaccine joke. That'll bring your laughter back to the original levels. So that's a great idea, you know? Now, a year later, it's like, look, I think you need a third or fourth vaccine joke. Hopefully you have one that's okay for 5-year-olds. I'm like, fuck no, I don't know what kind of long-term damage that could do to a kid, you know? I'm surprised so many people didn't want to get the vaccine because of the microchip. That was my favorite. I don't think there's a microchip in the vaccine. I do think there's a microchip in the My Pillows. I think that's what's going on. It's obviously connected to a tiny speaker that just whispers subliminal messaging. Every night as you lay down to bed, it's like, the election was stolen. The election was stolen. You're very manly. You know, it just keeps going. What do they call those things? A white noise machine? That was a roller coaster of emotion. You're just like, I like that way. That's about us. Other white people, that's fine. It's been a crazy couple years, but hopefully one thing we can take away from all this, though, is recognizing the things that are actually important to us, right? And for me, I couldn't have made it through this year without family, with money. I mean, that made things so much easier. My brother lives in Hollywood because he's a big-time director. You might have seen some of his work, actually. He does all the TV commercials for Taco Bell. It's pretty cool. I feel let down by my high school guidance counselor. I didn't know that was an option. He gets paid millions of dollars to go, when I yell action, eat the taco. It's not that hard. Stay away from the dog, he's a biter, you know? Also, I've never been in a Taco Bell commercial. How is that possible? Have you seen my hair? It's perfect. I thought Hollywood was all about nepotism. Guess it doesn't run in my family, you know? But he's got 2 kids, though, so I go visit all the time. And I still remember the day he told me I was going to be an uncle, because he came downstairs after work and he was like, we're having a baby and we need you to move out. And I was like, oh, this is bullshit, you know? But the kids are great. They're 6 and 4 now, which is such a great age, because they can actually walk and talk and get me stuff from the fridge, you know? But you gotta be careful. They're smarter than you think at that age already. I had an incident. I'm allowed near schools. Don't worry about it. I was visiting. Here's the problem. Whenever I fly, I try to bring a full-size pillow on the plane. And I'm sure TSA thinks it's weird and flight attendants make fun of me, but I don't really care. I just smoke a bunch of pot, I get a window seat, and then I wake up in a new city, you know? I'm like, oh, I time traveled, this is amazing. But recently I was visiting my brother, and his 4-year-old comes running up to me. She goes, "You forgot your pillow here last time." "How did you remember that it was my pillow?" She goes, "It smells like you." I was like, oh shit. She doesn't know it yet, but in 10 years she's gonna be at a Kanye show. Like, "Hey, this concert smells like my uncle." Yeah. Someone's burning rope over here. My brother just got baptized for the first time at age 40, and we weren't raised religious at all, so when my parents found out, they actually freaked out. They call me up, they go, "We're worried about your brother. We need you to check in on him." I was like, "Hey, relax. As far as a midlife crisis goes, Jesus is pretty mild, you know? Like, it could be worse. At least he's not buying a Corvette and abandoning his family, you know? It could be too close to home for Seattle." I apologize. That's my fault. I'm sure he's just getting cigarettes. He'll be right back, yeah. But I'm like, you know what? I'll check up on him. So next time I was visiting my brother, I call my parents. I go, "It's worse than we could have imagined. He's into Kanye." Not the old Kanye, the new Kanye. Yeah. My brother loves Kanye West, Jesus, and fencing. So somehow I turned out to be the normal one in the family. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with Jesus. It's great for his life and his family. It just sucks because sometimes he gets a little judgy if I want to catch a buzz. We took a family vacation recently, rented an Airbnb together. At the end of the night, I just opened the door to smoke a joint on the porch. My brother starts freaking out. He's like, "Don't do it out here. It's not legal in this state. I don't want the neighbors to freak out." I'm like, "Wow, I knew weed made you paranoid, but I thought you had to smoke it first, you know?" Also, we're in Florida. I don't think they're gonna care, you know? Florida is just happy I'm not doing bath salts. Like, literally, that is the state of low expectations, you know? And I get it. I used to be embarrassed I smoked pot until I started touring America as a comedian, and I realized how popular OxyContin is. And I was like, I'm doing fine, you know? Drugs aren't a big deal in moderation. This is an important addendum. Drugs are like speeding. Speeding is illegal, technically, but as long as you're going with the flow of traffic, like no one's gonna care, you know? If you're going 80 and some guy flies by you at 150, like who do you think the cops are going after? Exactly, the black guy doing 55, but that's besides the point. I'm like, you know what, I don't want to be a hassle, right? He's paying for this trip with his Taco Bell blood money, his Taco Bell bloody stool money, you know, so I'm like, hey, you just tell me where to go. He goes, "Oh, across the street, there's an abandoned field. Just smoke out there, I don't want the neighbors to freak out." So I'm standing in an empty field at 1 a.m, like, no, I think this is work. So I'm pretty sure the neighbor's gonna peek out the window, see a tall, dark, shadowy figure, a lighter flickering in the wind. For sure there will be 0 911 calls about that, but it only takes 5 minutes to smoke a joint if you're doing it right. So I'm out of there before anyone can even notice, and I'm trying to find my way back to the condo, but it's one of those buildings where all the buildings look the same, you know? So now I'm at building J, trying to find building C, like a backwards alphabet DUI test. The whole point is to not freak out the neighbors, but now I'm tiptoeing through Nana's rose bushes, peeking in windows. Is this C? Where am I going? Finally, I give up. I call my brother to come rescue me. And he does, and he's giving me this big lecture on drugs and Jesus. And at the end of it, I go, "So you're telling me whenever you feel anxious, you just remember that Jesus loves you and everything feels better?" He was like, "Yes." I was like, "That's what drugs do for me." You're talking to a guy who's not there. I have imaginary friends. We're not that different, you and I, you know? I was like, "I think you should try drugs. You'd probably like it." That was about 2 years ago, and now he grows pot in his backyard. So hell yeah! I won the conversion battle! Take that, Jesus! Hanging with family's nice, though, you know. Nothing like 10 days with your brother's kids to remind you why you push away anyone who's ever loved you. They would have left on their own. Don't worry about it. Trying to get back out there. I just met this new girl. She's great. She's been previously married, so she's a rescue. And I found out her last husband actually killed himself, which is great news because that means I'm her type. You know, it's gonna. We're gonna tie the knot soon. All right. All right. Some of you guys are laughing. Some of you are like, he needs therapy. You're both right, but I actually got over my last breakup with the help of a therapist, but it was a massage therapist, which was weird. She didn't jerk me off. That would have been much less awkward than what actually happened. I don't know what your typical massage expectations are like. I'm hoping to just get naked and never talk to you again, like a Tinder date, you know? But she got real touchy-feely with my actual feelings. I didn't appreciate it. She started asking me all these personal questions about my breakups, you know? She's like, are you single? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, why? I was like, what? Did she send you? Like, what's going on here? What are you guys, splitting my deductible? I don't understand this line of questioning. And maybe it's my fault, right? Maybe I accidentally walked into the wrong building or I circled deep issue massage, you know? But like, every time I'm trying to give like a vague non-answer, she just digs her knuckle into my thigh like I'm a prisoner in Guantanamo, you know? So she's like, why didn't things work out? I'm like, oh, people change and people grow and time heals all wounds. And then she elbow drops me from the top rope like Hulk Hogan. I'm like, I didn't appreciate her enough. I'm so sorry. I ignored her phone calls until she acted crazy and I blamed it on her. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. When I left that massage place, it felt just like regular therapy. I was crying. I called my dad to apologize. I had a bill for $800, you know? That's when I realized it's not the happy ending you want, but it's the happy ending you need, you know? I'm done dating younger women, and I'm 37, so most young women have been done dating me for a long time, but, you know, just announcing a policy change. You know, 23-year-olds, you're super hot, but I can't even read the font on your Instagram story anyway, so go have fun. You know. I'm 37, it's not old, but I'm not a young man anymore. It's time to date a woman who can recognize the signs of a stroke. You know? My priorities have shifted. Everyone else on dating apps like, do you have any pets? LOL, what's your sign? I'm like, do you know CPR? This is important. I have a couple t-shirts for sale after the show so the government doesn't know I make money. And the first one, you know, we're so divided as a country, we just need to come together and reach around the aisle, you know? It's a really clever shirt. It's an elephant jerking off a donkey, and after shows, people are always like, why has the donkey got to be the one on the bottom? I'm like, have you seen the news? We're getting fucked. Also, I think we kind of like it for some reason, but yeah. You just wear this to Thanksgiving dinner, and then your weird Republican brother won't talk to you anymore. You know? Unless he's your stepbrother. Don't get mad at me because you got the joke. That's not fair. I just said words and you're like, we watch porn. We get it. This is about people with fake service dogs. Because I have a friend that has a service dog, but it's a Chihuahua. And I was like, I don't think that counts. She's like, no, it helps with my anxiety. I'm like, the dog shakes more than you do. I think your service dog needs a service dog, to be honest. So it's just an emotional support t-shirt, right? Because if you're feeling sad and you don't have your service dog or your vape pen, you know, you just hit this guy. And it lines up with your nipples. You're like, I feel so much better. All my anxieties disappear. I need emotional support underwear, you know. So. He's got a bowl full of pills and the name tag says Xanax. So, you know. Yeah. All the money goes to charity or cinnamon. Whoever's working, and what a modest crowd pretending to not get that joke immediately. Honey, I don't even know. If you buy a shirt, I'll throw in a free beer koozie, $700 value. Ooh. Andrew J. Rivers on the front there, Instagram, YouTube, OnlyFans, that kind of stuff, and then. There's a joke on the other side because I saw a bumper sticker one time that said, cars are like wives. If it ain't yours, don't touch. And I was like, what a dumb sticker. So I just made these. They say, cars are like wives. I accidentally banged yours. And I left a note. Calm down. Jeez. Don't worry. Insurance is going to cover it, you know, because... She was totaled, am I right? So, thank you guys very much. My name is Andrew Rivers.